Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here and supporting and watching when I post. It genuinely means the world to me. And if you're new here, hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. Out of all of these other videos you could have clicked on, you chose mine. I really appreciate that. I hope that you can stick around and you can get something beneficial from my content today. I was tagged in the video I'm about to play for you guys multiple times. And let me just tell you, when I watched this video, I was number one, triggered and angry as to what is going on in the context of that video, but I was also feeling like I had a lot of like red flags going up in my head, like the alarm bells sounding, that something about this feels really fishy. And I got to the bottom of it and I figured out why it personally is extra triggering to me and might be for you too.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do a story time about the piece of shit that said he wishes his son got by a file. About 3 years ago is when I started my job. About a year into my job, we were so hard up for help that I hired somebody that was she was on a non-rehire list because she's toxic. And she got into it with the GM. We needed help. I needed somebody with that kind of experience. So I fought my ass off for 2 weeks to get this girl rehired. This girl and I clicked at first because I didn't know what the I was in for. We had a lot of things in common. I actually worked with her uncle some years back. We bonded over the fact that our mothers are pieces of shit. We added each other on Facebook. We added each other on TikTok. Shortly after she was hired is when her husband was hired. The one that said he wishes his son got by a
I just feel like I need to apologize to you guys for the amount of mutes in this video because of the amount of curse words being used, and you guys know my relationship with YouTube. They already really hate everything I post, so I try not to push my limits over here on that channel, so there will be a lot of mutes, a lot of silences anytime there is a curse word or a sensitive word. So just be aware that every time there is a silence, it's because there was a cuss word, okay? Now let's continue.
He did not say this out loud until, I don't even know how long it was, but I was over at their house, sitting in their living room, doing our thing, hanging out and all this and that, and this dude comes in, fiery, spitting from hell, saying that he wishes his son would have gotten by a My heart dropped into my ass. I didn't say anything right in that moment because I knew if I did, I would probably go to jail. My boyfriend and I ended up going over there one time, like after all this had happened, and I told him to wait in the car so I could go in and confront him. So I went inside, I confronted him, and I ripped into him and his wife. That was the last time I ever hung out with her outside of work. And she has the nerve to sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't know why people don't like me. I don't know why nobody wants to be my friend. While also simultaneously sitting there talking about a 11-year-old. Constantly telling people how much she resents this kid because she and this had to give up their daughter for adoption like 8 years ago.
I know this is a lot of information all coming at us at once in a very short time frame. So I just wanted to kind of catch us up and condense what we have heard so far so that we can be prepared for the rest of this decently long video. Okay, so our TikTok creator here is Chaotic Pisces. So to get into what's happened, okay, Chaotic Pisces is working at this job. She needs extra help. She needs specialized help. So she decides to advocate for this woman to get hired and help her, even though this woman is on a no hire list because of her past behavior. Okay, whatever. Desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Later on, that woman's husband is also hired. So you have bad man, bad woman working with Chaotic Pisces, okay? And at some point, Chaotic Pisces decides that it would be a good idea to befriend woman and man, and they're hanging out. And while they're hanging out is when that husband came in and was so angry that he said he wishes his son was by a That is an insane thing to say. And if you are saying it, you are thinking it, and no normal, safe adult would ever even think of that if they are not willing to do it themselves or facilitate it being done. Chaotic Pisces also mentions how the woman talks very poorly of her stepson because it's not her son, it's her husband's son. Although they do have a child together, as Chaotic Pisces mentions, they had a daughter that they had to give up for adoption. We are clarified later on as to exactly what happened, and to the best of my ability to understand the situation, it seems like they decided to give the daughter up because they didn't want to be parents, they couldn't take care of the daughter. And so now it seems like they heavily resent this 11-year-old boy. And it's freaking tragic. And what's sad is that, and even scary, is that these people feel so comfortable with their own thought process that they're doing these behaviors in front of other people, at least Chaotic Pisces, talking poorly and dangerously about this child, as well as hoping the absolute worst on your own son. But let's continue to hear what she has to say.
She is one of those people that chronically complains about everything. She sits there and talks about everybody, including her stepchild, at work, in earshot of everyone. She's always talking about, oh, he's getting in trouble. He's being a little blah, 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 trying to get the cops called on them to get taken away from them.
So Chaotic Pisces started working for this company 3 years ago, and a year later, the company hires this very problematic woman, and later on, this very problematic man. And within these 2 years, these 2 following years, Chaotic Pisces starts to form a friendship with her. They click, they're hanging out. And for these 2 years, she is listening to her new friend complain about anything and everything at work, including the stepchild, including hearing complaints from this woman that the stepchild is acting out so severely that he's trying to get the cops called on them to get himself taken out of the home. And she still chose to continue a friendship. As a mother herself, chose to continue pursuing a friendship with a woman who talks this way about not just children in general, but her own stepchild. Are you guys seeing where my red flags are coming from yet?
Gee, I wonder why. On top of it, she is always saying, oh, well, I'm such a piece of parent. Everybody calls me a piece of parent. Yeah, because you are a parent. And you have the nerve to go and tell somebody that I don't know what it's like to be a parent because I see my daughter twice a month? At least I see my daughter. At least I didn't give mine up for adoption. So over the course of 3 years, every day, I am hearing this complain about everything from her brother to her sister to her mom to her dad to her cats, her stepson. Every morning, I would be sitting there creating our boards for the day, and she'd be yapping my head off, and she's like, oh, I know I'm talking so much, and then continue talking to me. I'm the type of person, I'm not going to tell you to just leave me the alone. I'm not that type of person. I'm a recovering people pleaser. So let's fast forward to this week and what happened.
So as she just said, this behavior continued over a course of 2 consecutive years of yapping people's heads off about how much she dislikes her stepson. And now we're going to flash forward to this week. This week. That is the most important part because we've already heard a lot of the history, right? She's told us what that father said he wants to happen to his 11-year-old child. We have heard all of what the stepmom is saying, and we have also heard that this child has worked tirelessly to try to get himself taken away from the home. So what happened this week that could make it any worse? That this is your tipping point of finally telling everyone in the world about this awful, awful man because your primary goal here is to protect children and specifically keep this child safe. So what could have happened this week that was the final straw for you to finally come forward and let the world know what happened and let the police know as well, right?
One of our coworkers texts me telling me that she's so uncomfortable with all the shit that they're saying about me and that they hate me and blah, blah. This is the same employee that she told that I don't know what it's like to be a mother because I only see my daughter twice a month. And because we don't hang out outside of work, because I refuse to be friends with people like that, I quietly confronted her in our office, closed door so nobody could hear it, because I was so sick to my stomach that day. I had anxiety from the last 2 days of hearing this. I didn't cuss at her. I didn't scream at her. I didn't berate her. All I told her was that I don't appreciate my business being talked about with other people. I told her how disrespectful it was. I told her how hurt I was because I fought for her to get that job. I told her that I no longer wanted to be even work friends. We were just coworkers at that point. So I took her off my social media. I blocked her. I blocked her husband. After I said what I had to say to her, I walked away from her, and that was that. I told her I wasn't going to treat her any differently, but I didn't want to hear anything personal. I had no interest in hearing anything personal from her anymore. We were just coworkers, and that was that. Next thing I know, I'm hearing her husband in earshot after I'm done talking to her, telling me that, oh, well, you just came back from vacation. You're being such a... I'm like, excuse me? So my followed it. We got into a yelling match in the freaking hallway by our maintenance office, where he's calling me telling me to it, telling me to go myself. I made a couple jabs at him about me being on salary and the fact that I was able to take a vacation. I also made a jab at him about how he talks to his son. The only recording that I got from this whole entire interaction was the one at the end where he's calling me, he said she can go herself, she's a god. Go back a few videos, you can see it there. I sent that to the owner and the GM, and I told them if he wasn't fired that I was quitting. And he got fired all right, but so did I, which I think is a bunch of... I got fired for defending myself instead of de-escalating somebody talking to me. I don't give two fat that I was a manager. I was a person first. I'm not gonna just sit there and take it when somebody is berating me like that. So not only does he have to go find another job, so do I. So what I'm going to do right now, in the meantime, I'm putting a link down below.
Yeah, that's a commission link on her video because she lost her job, because her ego was bruised, because she was being gossiped about behind her back and then name called, horrible names, straight to her face by a man. That's why she brought all of this to light, because she got hurt in the end. None of this had anything to do with standing up for or protecting this child. She did not get fired because she yelled at this man about the actions and behaviors and words and statements he and his wife are saying about that child. That's not why she got fired. She didn't get fired because she sent evidence of all of these behaviors to the company and they retaliated against her. No, she got fired because she harbored all of this information and kept it to herself until it benefited her, until she could use that as ammunition to win an argument. And now that she is fired, she's using it as ammunition to win, I guess, a social battle, to make herself look better than these people. I think that that's absolutely abhorrent. And what's worse is no, she never went to the police. She never made a police report, even after she started posting this videos. She never went to the police, not once. It was them who went to the police against her after she had made all of these videos talking about this situation, which I will show you a couple screenshots. I'm not going to like play the videos because it's just got like sound on, where for like multiple times a day leading up to her dropping this story time, she was posting like very like inconspicuous, that's not the right word, but like very like non-explanatory videos talking about how like, oh, if you burn me, I'm gonna burn you up worse in the end. I'm explaining this really bad. How about I just show you, okay? So what I'm about to show you is what I feel like it really just emphasizes the fact that she just wanted to have a lot of people know about this, because it makes her look better. It would make people be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they fired you. They fired you and them after all of this, and you're saying this, but it's like, but she did not act. She never acted. This is just a story to her, a story that possibly makes her look really good, but in my eyes, as a survivor of that kind of home life, I don't think you look good at all. You didn't protect a child, you protected yourself. This video was posted June 7th and is the first in this saga that is hinting towards this story time or like baiting for a story time. This was also posted on the 7th where it says, A secretly hating you for 2 years, but being fake to your face the entire time is insane. So once again, this just shows this has nothing to do about protecting this child. This has nothing to do with making sure that this child is safe. As much as she wants to claim that in the comments, this is all because her ego is hurt. She feels backstabbed. She feels betrayed. She feels wrongly done. That's why she's coming out and saying all of this. And hey, I'm glad that she did because the police are involved. We'll get more into that later. But her entire motivation in all of this is simply herself. She feels like she was wronged, so she wants to more wrong the people who wronged her. Not more wronged, I meant like get back at the people who wronged her. And then this video was posted on June 8th, which is essentially saying the same thing. The nerve of people to be fake to your face and blah, blah, blah. This video was posted 1 week ago and it says, you want to go off on me and call me a blanking blank multiple times, tell me to go blank myself multiple times, and tell me to blank it, all because I confronted your wife in a civil conversation for talking poorly about me. I'm gonna show you how big of a blankety blank I can be by showing people what kind of person you are. And I could go through and show you more of these things, but do you see the motivation here has nothing to do with keeping this child safe? People are like hailing her a hero when in reality, she just wanted her get back. She does not see anything seriously wrong with what happened at all. For example, this comment says, call the police to make a report. If he's saying it, he's thinking about it, which usually leads him to wanting to do it. In which she says back, he wished one of those people would, not himself. Okay. That changes nothing at all. And thankfully, somebody went on to explain that further. Usually, if an adult is saying those things, he is usually wanting to do it himself. And she just says back, that's disturbing, noted though. Completely disregarding the whole call the police to make a report. And this person is not the only person who advised her to make a police report about this, because that's absolutely what you should do. Duh! Here are some more comments where somebody said, and nobody called the cops or CPS on these people. I genuinely hope this man somehow gets prison. And to both of those comments, she just replied, the cops are now involved. So let's talk more about that. The cops being involved, right? Because I've been saying this whole time that she did not make a report. She did not go to the police. She did not call CPS. None of that. No, 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 no. The police are involved because the husband and wife printed off stacks of screenshots of all of these posts that she had been posting on social media to then hand over to the police for harassment, because they were obviously like getting flooded with a ton of people figuring out who they were and what they allegedly said. And so they decided to take that all to the police. So that's how the police got involved, is because they ignorantly went to the police themselves and admitted to the police, hey, she's saying that we did all of this stuff, like, can you get her to stop? And now the police are, hopefully being like, yeah, but why would you say all of that? Okay. She's not saying much more about how the police are involved, other than that they had like contacted her and she explained everything to them, yada, yada, yada. But still, why would you not call the police and report that as soon as it happened? How do you still not make a police or CPS report after you make these videos and you have hundreds of people telling you this is report worthy? You need to make a report on this. Why would you still not make any report at all? If your purpose in this is genuinely protecting a child, why would you still not make any report at all till you had posted enough videos and evidence for these people to screenshot everything and take it to the police themselves? And yet she wants to sit here in the comments acting like she did something to help save this child when she didn't. All of this was revenge for her. It was her get back at being gossiped about. Here, someone commented and said, all I want to know is what happened when you called Child Protective Services on both of them. She responds, they've had CPS at their house multiple times. They always get a heads up when they're coming. She does not say whether she called CPS, and she also does not admit that she didn't. Instead, she just says they've had CPS called multiple times, but they always get a heads up, which to, a normal average person, they might read that and assume to themselves like, okay, yeah, she did call, but she's not expecting much to come out of that. And that's not what is happening here. Another comment says, I hope that little boy goes no contact as soon as he can and finds people who love and respect him. This is absolutely insane. I'm literally fuming. And she says back, that little boy is going to be traumatized for the rest of his life and he's going to need years and years of therapy. Yes. And one of those years of therapy is going to be spent on people like you. People like you. Because he is going to know that you were friends with his parents who talked that way about him. For 2 years, you sat in his living room and listened to his father say that about him. And you did nothing until it could benefit you. And even then, you didn't do the right thing. You came online to get back at them because you had the ultimate card, right? You had the ultimate playing card that you had been sitting on just in case they double crossed you, huh? And that's when you pulled it out. Not to protect that kid, but to make yourself look and feel better. Because if you can acknowledge that that child is going to need years and years and years of therapy because he's so traumatized, then you absolutely could have called someone about it in the meantime. But you didn't. And that is something, behavior like that is something that affects, I would say, I don't know this for sure, but probably every single survivor who has come from a home like this or similar to this, or you guys know what I mean, right? I know for me personally, my whole family knew. Looking back now, they all knew. I know that from the subtle things that they would say to me. I know that now as an adult, because looking back, I remember the conversations that were had about me when I was in another room or even right in front of me or on a quick phone call. All of the complaining, the making it out that I am the problem when in reality, the problem was not me. I had problems that were caused by things outside of my control. And no one said anything. No one said anything. And to this day, they keep their mouths shut and choose to still have relationships with both of my parents, my mom and my stepdad. They said nothing. And that has been so confusing and traumatizing for me my entire life. It really has. So it's so hard for me to look back at my childhood, at all of these adults that I thought were so fun and I loved so much and I thought they loved me so much. I even had some aunts and uncles that would take me out on special outings, take me to the mall, buy me expensive stuff because they knew what was happening at home. I even had an aunt come to my house on my 13th birthday when I was in school. Mind you, my mom was home the whole time. She came to my house and completely decorated my bedroom with confetti, balloons, a happy birthday banner. She even made me my own shirt with what's that stuff called? Puffy paint? Is that still a thing? Made me my own shirt with puffy paint, the whole 9 yards. I had never in my life had a birthday like that, ever in my whole life. And I will never forget walking in the front door after I got home from school and my mom was just standing in the kitchen like a normal day, whatever. Mind you, it's my birthday. Okay, house looks normal. I open up my bedroom door and it's just party central and my aunt is standing there with the biggest smile on her face. And so, yeah, now as an adult, I'm really confused as to how she could have known everything and said nothing. And yet I looked at her with love. I looked at her like, wow, you get it and you're trying to make my life easier. But no. And that's a reality that is not just my reality. That's probably your reality if you came from a home life like mine or like what is being alleged right here. Because all too often, adults will turn a blind eye for multiple reasons. Maybe they genuinely can't see the signs. Maybe they're experiencing the bystander effect and don't really know how to navigate that situation. Maybe them themselves don't see anything wrong with what's happening. Whatever the reason why this happens, it doesn't really matter because it needs to stop. If you are an adult who sees a child being harmed, who hears a parent talking about wanting to harm their child, that's something that needs to be investigated. Absolutely. If you were in her position and you heard him say that, it should have been an immediate, excuse me, I've got to leave, and an immediate phone call to the police and CPS. Yeah, without any evidence. Not to mention she had 2 freaking years of evidence, dude. Literally no excuse. Behaving that way, keeping your mouth shut, is putting a child in danger. And I will never, ever understand how people can just not care about that. How you genuinely can just turn a blind eye and say, well, not my circus, not my monkeys. I need to mind my own business. Kids are not objects. They are living, conscious beings whose brains are just a little less developed than yours. So actually, they need the most patience, they need the most care, they need the most support, and they need the most advocacy. Children are the most marginalized group of people in the world. I am glad that she posted that video as well as the other videos, because it did lead to that husband and wife screenshotting and printing off all of their evidence and taking it to the police themselves. And now hopefully there is a proper investigation and CPS is involved, but I don't know. Because number one, I don't have a lot of faith in the police, number one. And number two, all she has said is the police are involved and they got her side of the story and told her that she was like legally in her rights to be able to be posting whatever she's posting, right? But we don't know if they're actually taking any of the claims seriously about the children. Or I guess I should say the child, and what will come of that. I'm also glad that she posted those videos and exposed her real motive for bringing awareness to this, because it opens the door to a greater conversation. That if you know a child is being harmed or you suspect a child is being harmed, you need to tell somebody. I can't believe that's like a great discussion, but yeah, unfortunately, there are way too many people like chaotic Pisces who will know information and just sit on it because it's not bothering me. Or maybe they're scared. Maybe they don't want to break up the friendship. Maybe they don't want to be wrong. Whatever the reason is there's way too many people like her that will keep these things stored in their back pocket until it benefits them, instead of having a child's welfare as their number one priority when they are being told this information or seeing the things that they are seeing. So yeah, he will need years and years and years of therapy, not only because of what is allegedly happening at his home and with his stepmom and father, but also because he's going to know, because you posted it on the internet forever, he's going to know that there was at least one person who knew. There was at least one direct witness, one person who heard all of the things his parents were saying, one person who heard the threat his father made against his own safety. And he is going to witness for himself that that person did nothing to actually help him and only used that sensitive, traumatic information to make herself look and feel better online when my dad offended her. Does that make you feel good? When you look at it through that lens, like, will this content still make you feel on top of the world when, say, in like 5 to 10 years, this child finds your videos on social media, or your child is sent your videos on social media because everyone knows his dad's name now and it's eventually going to come back to him? How do you think that child's going to feel to see you just sharing all of this horrible information about him and his home life just because his dad and mom offended you? Do you think he's going to be thankful? Do you think he's going to be grateful? No, he's not. He's going to look at you as somebody who exploited his trauma just like everyone else. Just another adult who knew and didn't help him. But that's all I have for you guys today. To wrap everything up, I am really glad that she posted all of this, because it did end in some sort of a police investigation that I hope ends well for this child and puts this child in a place where he can feel safe, as this child has already tried to get the police called on his family multiple times already. And also, I am glad that it opened up this door to talk about, adults' motivations to reporting. You are furthering the harm to a child when you know that child is being harmed and you choose to say nothing. You choose to continue being friendly with them. You are contributing to that child's harm. So if you are ever put in a position like this, Don't let fear control you. Don't be a bystander. Don't doubt your intuition. It is always better to be safe than sorry, especially when we are suspecting that a child is being seriously harmed. But if you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and go ahead and subscribe as well. And as always, I am really interested to know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Specifically, like, what do you think about the motivation here? Am I reaching too far? Is my trauma talking? I'm interested to know your guys' thoughts, because the point that I brought up today is not a point that I have seen be brought up. I might have had my first ever original thought. But yeah, anyway, let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next one.